I love you.
Yeah.
Good. Very good. All right. So Mentor Maryland is a nonpartisan organization galvanizing Maryland and DC, the mentoring movement. But from this call, you can tell we reach all across the country. So thankful to have people calling in from Chicago today. Wow. And we serve as community-based experts. And our goal is to create a statewide infrastructure with the intention of expanding quality relationships for our young people. That's one of our goals. We also provide training and research and public awareness, mentor recruitment, advocacy for our stakeholders. And we also serve as sort of like a link between our national office, which is headquartered in Boston, and with all of our local mentoring organizations. And as you know, we are one of 25 regional affiliates that are attached to Mentor National. So Andrew, you can go to the next couple slides. I would love to introduce you to our staff that's actually joining me on the call today. Our particular office is headquartered, our office, our executive director is Sadiq Ali. Many of y'all know him. He's an incredible motivator, incredible leader. He is our executive director. If you've not met him or connected with him on LinkedIn, definitely encourage you to do so. He is our executive director. Today, I'm also fortunate to have my colleague who I work directly with, Renee Angelo Mock. And Renee, can you just introduce yourself real quick? Put you on the spot. I know we're going to introduce you later, but can you?
Hi, everyone. Renee Angelo Mock, Program Outreach and Support for the Greater Maryland region. Been with Mentor Maryland, DC since May of last year. Been working in Baltimore City since 2013. Been working in youth development forever. So that's most of the scoop on me.
Right. We also have on the call my colleague Andrew Lulavar. Andrew, can you come off mute and share quickly?
Sure. So my name is Andrew Lulavar. I've been with Mentor Maryland and Diana Renee since April of this year. It's going to be about like 4 months. New to the topic of mentor recruitment, but still become like really like knowledgeable, and I've learned a lot from them in regard to it, and I'm sure you guys will too.
Thank you, Andrew. Andrew is an AmeriCorps Vista, recently graduated from University of Maryland with a criminal justice. Come on, y'all, give him some love. Give him some love. Come on. And yeah, he has just been an incredible asset for our organization with us. We've got him for a year, and Renee and I are lobbying to have him stay on a little bit longer. So you'll see him. You'll also see his name when we send out our emails and our follow-up emails. That'll be Andrew doing an incredible job. Here's our itinerary for today. Just quickly, we're moving very quickly today because we have a lot, and we're excited about who we have on our call. And for those of you that have just joined in, please go ahead and put your name, your organization in the chat, and also how you doing 1 to 10. How you doing 1 to 10, 10 being on top, 1 being woo, I'm ready for Friday. Either one, put those in the chat. Here's our itinerary for today. We're going to do an overview. I'm about to step into introductions of our guests who are going to join us on this call. Thank you, Kiana. We got Horton's kids. Kiana, we got to stay connected. Introductions. Then we're going to do today deep dive rotations. So right around midpoint, we're going to split you guys up into 3 groups, and we're going to rotate through our guest speakers for today. And then we'll come back, we'll debrief, and then we'll give grace and peace to everybody. That's our itinerary for today. Just some norms. That's Sadiq's term for Zoom and norms. Y'all can steal that, use that. Well, as we still doing Zoom meetings, they're effective. Use a chat box. Please put your comments, put your love, put all that in the chat box for everything. Be respectful, supportive. That's really pretty much a given for us. We invite you to put your cameras on. No harm, no foul, no shade. We won't send you if you still got your slippers on. No big deal. Ask questions, please. and we will continue to provide each other grace and space in this time. This is so good. We're above 30 attendees. That's so good. And as we step into today, let's go ahead in the chat. Here's what I need you to do as our icebreaker to start off. If you could put in the chat which movie mentor-mentee match is your favorite. Put that in the chat. Some of y'all might do the old Karate Kid thing. Some of y'all might do a little Dumbledore. Some of y'all might. So you can see mine is on the chat. Morpheus and Neo. Pursuit of Happiness. That's good. Good. Throw those in the chat real quick. I see you. I see you. Look, Pursuit of Happiness. Don't let anybody tell you, not even me, that you can't be. I can't remember the line. That's a great line right there.
That's right.
Butter. Yeah, yeah. David, thank you. Go ahead and throw those in the chat real quick. Still, come on, Michael. Steel Magnolias. Yeah, thank you for participating in that. Yeah, Star Wars. You got to throw those guys in. Yep. Yeah. Come on, put those in. Remember the Titans. This is good. This is good. All right. Look, Allison, can you come off mute? Can you come off mute? We'll let you be the spotlight for our mentor-mentee movie. Tell us a little bit about what sticks out for you for Remember the Titans, Allison, if you don't mind, if you could come off.
Sure. Yeah, I guess it's not a one-to-one sort of mentor relationship, but I mean, Denzel's character is like, a mentor that helps the young man on his team grow, brings them together, makes them reach high, all that good stuff.
Yeah, that's so good. That's a classic. That's good. Group mentoring at its best. At its best. Thank you. Okay, now, Horace, me and you, we are brothers from another mother. You put the Matrix in there. Tell me why. We're going to let you, I'm going to spotlight you. Why the Matrix, Horace? Please, if you could come off mute, and then we'll go into the rest of our session. Horace.
The Matrix was I feel like there was a perfect mentor-mentee relationship because it's Neo didn't understand things at first, and Morpheus kind of had to let him guide him a little bit, but then he also had to learn his own way to becoming the one, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Oh man, I love that movie. Don't think, just do. No, I just love that movie. Okay, so I won't get off track. I have attention deficit. In our last episode, when we were together a couple weeks ago for Mentor Recruitment 101, and we do have that recording if you would like to look at that last session if you weren't on that call. We went over we defined recruitment. We talked about the elements of effective practice and mentoring, those 6 standards for mentoring that are critical for a successful mentoring organization: recruitment, screening, training, matching, monitoring and support, and closure. Those are your elements of effective practice for mentoring. If you're not familiar with those, just drop a note in the chat and we'll get those to you. Those are the standards for our mentoring programs. Last time we were together, we also talked about some benchmarks for recruitment. Okay, we'll send you the link for Brent will get that to you, the recording. The recruitment benchmarks, we also talked about those specific methods, and then we gave you a recruitment checklist. All that happened in our last session. This episode is part 2, and we're calling it a deep dive, and we're focusing on how we can recruit 3 specific demographics, and recruiting veterans, recruiting from the LGBTQ community, and also recruiting men of color. In each one of those breakouts that you're going to have with those specific demographics, they're going to talk about the value of recruiting that demographic, the best practices for recruiting that demographic, and also the strategies for incorporating those demographics into your mentoring programs. And so that's what's going to happen today. On our next screen, what I'll do is I'll share with you just briefly our guest speakers. First is Dr. Vanessa Gaddis, who is the county commissioner down in Virginia, Prince William County Veterans Commission. We met her a couple of weeks ago at a Washington Mystics game. And she's just an incredible resource and repository for information. Unfortunately, she called us just before the meeting and said that she was not going to be able to join. So I'm going to sub in for her, but we wanted to leave her name on here so that you can write her name down. We'll have it. And then she is a resource as we recruit veterans for our program. That's Dr. Vanessa Gaddis, Dr. Vanessa M. Gaddis. You can also check her out on LinkedIn. Our next guest who we have today, I'm really excited also, is Mr. Brian Sales. He is the CEO, the principal owner for Transformative Training and Technical Assistance. And you'll have an opportunity to have a deep dive conversation with him about recruiting Black males or men of color, Black and brown, to your programs. Many of our programs, especially in the DMV, are looking for mentors from men of color. So he'll be able to speak definitively on that topic. Our last guest that we have is none other. Oh, here's another resource I want you guys to write down. And this is Dr. Well, he's not doctor yet, but Joseph Somerville. He's a retired Army who has been mentoring in the DMV for well over 12 years. And so we'll also give you his information. He's going to join in a little bit later in the call. The last one that we'll share, our last guest that we have today, is none other than our very own Renee Angela Malk, and she's going to be talking specifically about recruiting best practices for the LGBTQ community. So that's our guest for today. You are going to have about 15 minutes to talk and really ask questions. And so in our deep dive rotations, the first one will start in about 3 minutes, and it'll go for 15 minutes. We're going to split you guys up into three groups. And so the first deep dive will go for about 15 minutes. It'll go from 10:20 to 10:35. And then what's going to happen is you'll stay in your group, and then we're going to rotate our guest speakers to your group. Feel free to take notes, ask questions. Any resources that our guest speakers have, we'll make available after the call in our follow-up email. We've got PDFs, we've got this slide deck, we've got last time's slide deck, and we also will have the recording. Can someone do me a favor real quick? Can someone, actually, I'll do it. I'm going to take a screenshot of all your faces if y'all don't mind. Are y'all okay with that? Just real quick. Can y'all smile? Can y'all smile? Real quick. Yeah, there we go. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Got it. Thank y'all. All right. All right. So let's see. We're about ready to go into, okay, Catherine, thank you for joining us, and we'll give you the scoop on what happened. Any questions before we go into our first rotation? Any questions? Is it confusing? Is it clear as mud? What's happening? All right, okay, y'all with me. All right, so let's go ahead. We'll start that first rotation, and then the next rotation will start at 10:35.
I'm going to pause the recording until we come back together. Dan.
Very good. Thanks, Sandra. There we go. Brian, we missed that. We'll have to.
Well, I can say again real quick. So identifying African-American organizations, identifying African-American mentors that are currently a part of your program, to leverage them and to utilize them as a profile. Look at activity-based mentoring, activities that are both sports related, creative arts, things of that nature, and trying to leverage that, but really thinking deeply about and being intentional. And the last piece that I didn't mention is developing a written recruitment plan with goals and objectives.
Very good. And so you guys remember in our last call 2 weeks ago, we talked about the importance of having that mentor recruitment plan written out so that your organization can pinpoint, one, the areas that you're going to focus on for your mentoring recruitment, but then it also gives you an idea next year when you do the same thing, what worked, what didn't work, what you can capitalize on. And if that's not documented, if your organization doesn't have a mentor recruitment plan laid out on a month-by-month basis, also adding in the social media component. How will you utilize social media to elevate your program so that potential mentors can see what you are doing and say, hey, I want to be a part of that. So that's good, very good. I love also what Brian said, in addition, is leveraging the mentors that you already have. And so specifically, if you have a veteran or LGBTQ or any demographic that you're attempting to reach that's already involved in your organization, utilize them and ask them, hey, what can we do to generate more interest from this demographic? And then one thing that we mentioned again in the veterans session was ask them if they'd be willing to host a mini recruitment call. And so have the veterans that you know reach out to them and say, hey, would you be willing to co-host a call with your friends that you know that are veterans? Let's have a 30-minute call so that I can explain what Talbot Mentors does, and so that these veterans can hear what we do and they might be willing to volunteer. And that's a low lift that you can do and just schedule it for those specific demographics. So let's go ahead and open up for Q&A. And if there's any questions or any thoughts or takeaways that you guys have from the sessions. We know it moved very quickly.
I know that there was some unanswered comments or questions. I just can't remember everybody's names. If folks are on the call from the sessions that I was in, and I don't mean to dominate, but if folks wanted to speak to those questions or comments, feel free. And if it's appropriate now, go right ahead.
Ooh. All right. Brian, I guess that means either they were drinking from a fire hose or everything was clear.
Okay.
Well, let's do this. We'll share a couple of our resources. Yes, David, yes. In our in our follow-up email, we're going to send not only Brian's information, we'll send Dr. Gaddis's information. Remember, she was our veteran that had a quick, couldn't join the call. She was our resource for this one. We'll include that. We're also going to include all of the links that we used and the documents that we refer to. Thank you, Brian. And let me go ahead and put ours in here too.
We'll include Joseph Somerville's information as well.
Yeah. And we'll put all the links, and we're still looking for a volunteer office for Fort Meade and Fort Belvoir. Now, each one of those bases, they have an office for civilians that want to serve the veterans, right? But we're looking for a flip. We're looking for veterans that want to serve our civilian program. So we found one for Andrews Air Force Base. We're still trying to identify those offices for Fort Belvoir and for Fort Meade. And so even if you're calling and you're outside of the Maryland DMV area, I know we had one from Chicago. Is Chicago our furthest? Because you're going to win a prize if you're our furthest. Chicago. If you're further than Chicago, please put it in the chat so we can send you your prize for today. If you're located near a military base, reach out and see if they do have an office that encourages veterans to serve the civilian organizations, nonprofit organizations. Okay. Now on the screen, you've got some of our support that our office offers. Many of you have participated in our training that we do. These particular trainings that we host, typically on a monthly basis, we'll pick a theme and have these training resources. At the beginning of the call, I mentioned that there are specific mentoring standards. If you're not familiar with those 6 mentoring standards, please let us know. We'll send you a booklet or resource for those. Any of your organizations need any type of consulting or technical assistance, our office offers that, as well as Brian. I know he also offers consulting. If you need to build out your recruitment model, we'll help you. If you need to build out your design for your program, we'll help you do that. Those are specific elements that our office offers. If you're interested, please just either drop your name in the chat or shoot us an email and we'll respond to those. We've got a couple of conferences coming up that we would really love for all of your organizations to participate in. We are hosting the MD4Y conference in November with our sister organization, the Most Maryland Out of School Time Network. We're hosting this. Students attend free. It's a 2-day conference. It's going to be in Annapolis. Somebody say Naptown. It's going to be in Annapolis. And so please join us for that. Also, and go to the next slide, Andrew. If you guys know executive director or program staff person that you would like to honor or to give them an award, go ahead and click on this link and nominate them. So in November, when we do this conference, they can be recognized for their outstanding service. And so these are the 2022 MD4Y Conference Awards. And you've got about another week and a half to get those in. So would encourage you, if you've got somebody like your executive director, or if you're an executive director and you've got a program staff that you would like to recognize, this would be a great opportunity to do so. Or secondly, if you are familiar with a program that you would like to nominate for doing incredible work, if anybody wanted to nominate, another organization, you're welcome to do that. Thank you, Michael, for putting that in the chat about the Army Volunteer Corps. Thank you for that. We'll definitely elevate that. And we've got Andrew's Air Force Base, so we got Air Force. Any additional questions before we close our call out today?
Man, I had a resource. It could be a bit dated. When I worked for Dear Mighty Things, a consulting company was run by retired and former military folks. There should be some resources on military mentoring, a variety of different resources. If you're not familiar with it, I believe the tool that Sadiq sent me, that the Virginia Mentor Virginia, I'm sorry, I gotta get used to the new terminology, put together. If you look under that, Dear Mighty Things created some tools around military mentoring that included both recruitment and identification. It could take a look at it and see if it's still useful for folks. We did some work with Big Brothers Big Sisters in the Machi program. This is probably close to 10 years ago, but I still think there might be some useful tools in there for you.
Very good. Okay, so we'll research that and put that in our follow-up email. Brian, man, thank you so much for being on this call. You are an incredible resource.
Yes.
And,
Appreciate it, man. That's why I got the gray hair, bro. It's good for something.
Well, that's good. It looks good on you. It looks good. And anybody else, if you have not put your name and your email address in the chat, please do so. We have the registration, but if you could put it in the chat, specifically if you would also like any information on technical assistance, or if anything was mentioned during this call that you think, I need that, I want that, please just put it in the chat real quick before we close. When we close this call, you're automatically going to be routed to a survey. Please complete that survey. We want these trainings to be as informative, and we do not want it to be a waste of your time or our time. And so we want these to be well. So please just take a moment, give us feedback on what we can do better, things that we did good, things that we can improve upon, things that we are doing well on. Please give us as good feedback as you can, especially since we're giving you like 11 minutes, letting you out 11 minutes early. I mean, come on now. Right? Y'all have a great Thursday. Keep up the good work. Thank you for doing no harm to our kids and your service to our community. And on behalf of Mentor Maryland, DC, and all of our staff and Brian and our guest speakers, have a great Thursday and a great weekend. Talk to you soon.
Hey, Dion, you got time to talk? So I give you a
Yes.
call, or you guys want to stay on afterwards, or how you want to do it?
Yep.